Okay, welcome. That little musical prelude was the Moog synthesizer, an electronic keyboard that was invented in the 70s, and that's playing the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, written around perhaps 1720 or so, but modernized by this guy in the 70s. Very cool. That's the Brandenburg Concerto No. 3, last movement. Even if you're not a classical music person, those things are pretty appealing to general public. So there's our friend YouTube. You can look up Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 3. So here we are, it's May 27th, and we are continuing. And the first thing we'll do is stretch, of course. Stretch up, see if you can touch your ceiling. And if you're very tall, maybe you can push your ceiling off of your house or up to the next story and see what kind of chaos that makes. And we'll stretch our arms back and roll them backwards and forwards. And then those of you that have tried this opposite direction thing, good for your brain. Again, as I said last week, one way to practice this if you're not good at it is think of an alligator closing its jaw and then continuing in that same circle. And if you practice it a few minutes every day, you will get it, just as is true of almost anything, and then you can go in opposite directions. So, I recommend that to you. It's good, as I say, for your brain. So now we're rolling our shoulders back and rolling our necks, our heads. Leave everything loose. Stretch your arm this way and stretch your arm this way. And again, up. Stand on your tippy toes. Good, and we'll do 5 squat jumps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And one thing we'll do is do a little footwork to start, then we'll stretch a little more. So if you get on guard, remember your feet at right angles. Your front heel is lined up with your rear heel. There's a shoulder's distance at least between your feet. You certainly don't want like this, nor do you want like this, that's too far. But a shoulder's distance. So we're going to do a little back and forth, advance, retreat, then we'll stretch some more. So you're on guard, nice and low, hands up. Use this rear arm effectively. We'll talk about that in a minute. And move, retreat, retreat, advance, advance, retreat, retreat, retreat. Get nice and low, advance, advance. Remember that the advance and retreat are very simple motions. It's step, snap, step, snap, step, snap. By snap, I mean pulling your rear foot up vigorously. And the same when you go in the other direction. Step, snap, step, snap, step, snap. You don't want sort of like Eeyore walking around to see Winnie the Pooh. You don't want that kind of motion. You want very lively, definitive motion. So advance, advance, nice and low, advance, stay on your legs, retreat, 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 retreat. 2 advances, 1, 2, 2 retreats, 1, 2, 3 advances, 1, 2, 3, 3 retreats, 1, 2, 3, 2 advances, 2 retreats, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we've got a little bit of warm up there, legs are warming up, so we'll do 5 more squat jumps. Down and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Now we'll practice just a lunge and we'll stretch when we get in the lunge. So you recall a lunge begins by an extending of the arm. Your toe goes up in the process, and you kick straight and straighten that rear leg and push. And that's the lunge. Knee over ankle in the front, rear leg straight, rear foot flat, arms out, and stretch that. Push down your rear hip a little bit, stretch that. And then pivot and go in the opposite direction. So we're going to keep doing this and get lower and lower every time. Back to your original side. If you're right-handed, it's your right side, of course. If you're left-handed, it's your left. A little bit lower. You should feel your front quadricep working. And pivot. And go a little lower. And pivot again, go lower still. Put your hands in the ground. Put your front shoulder next to your front knee like this. Kind of like a runner, sort of. Runners don't exactly start like this, but it's kind of like that. And then pivot and reverse. Go down as low as you can. What's now your front shoulder next to your knee. You can come back and just drop and hang and let your hamstrings in the back of your thigh stretch a little bit. Can you touch your toes? Can you touch the ground? I know I give this sermon every week, but the more flexible you are, the better your life will be, period. You should be moving throughout your entire life, doing some kind of sports. Fencing is a good one, lifetime sport, and no concussions. So being flexible is really crucial. And then you can do this, what we call the stork stretch, where you stand on one leg and you pick up, I'll show you this way, pick up your foot, pull it straight up behind you, so you should feel a stretch in your front quadricep. And then switch to the other side. Pull your foot straight back, not this way, but straight back, as if you're trying to pull your heel all the way up your back. And of course, the other stretch is you can sort of squat, put your rear end on your heels, put your hands behind you, look up at the sky, lower your knees to the ground if you can, lift your hips up as best you can, and you will feel a stretch in the front of your thighs, the quadricep muscles. All right, so we're on guard. We're just going to do a little more footwork with me. Advance, advance, retreat, 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 advance, retreat, 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 advance, retreat, advance, extending your arm, pick up that toe, kick and lunge. Hold it. Hold your torso upright while you do this. Inevitably in fencing you may lean, of course, but you don't want to train yourself to do that, as I've said. Right? And just pivot for a moment, go the other direction. And back. And when you recover, pretend you're in a room with a 4-foot ceiling, so to speak. So you really recover low by bending this leg. Very important. You bend the leg, you push back, you're on guard, ready for the next move, like a cat that's hunting. You do not want to do this. Some of you in my Wednesday class will remember the story of the lunge machine, we called it, that had a bar that they would raise or lower depending on your height, and if you stood up when you recovered, you hit your head. So really train this to come back low. Very, very crucial. All right. Again, reviewing the mechanics of the lunge is extending, toe up, kick, and lunge. Ready? On guard. Watch me and do it with me. Extending, toe up, kick, and lunge. Pull your arms, bend your leg, push and recover. Extend, toe up, kick, and lunge. Bend your arms, bend that leg, push back, recover nice and low. 3 more. Extend your arm, kick, and lunge. Bend your arms, bend your legs, push back and recover. 2 more. Extending, kick, and lunge. Bending and recover. 1 more. Extending, kick, and lunge. Bending and recover. All right, let's try that on the non-dominant side. That is, if you're right-handed, become a lefty for a moment. If you're left-handed, become a righty for a moment. Good for your brain, teaches your brain to adjust your body. So get on guard. This time I think I'll do it once you face me, and if I move towards you, you move back, just as if we were in a fencing match. So you should be retreating, retreat, retreat.